Today for a review I have Panasonic FZ300 digital camera. The FZ300 has quite strong specifications. It can shoot up to 12 frames per second, it can shoot 4K video, it has tiltable articulated LCD screen and also viewfinder, and is completely packed with advanced features, customization options and so on. On the beginning, a few words about the lens. It has 24 times optical zoom. In 35mm terms it covers from 25 to 600mm. The best thing about this lens is it has a constant f2.8 aperture. This is good for two things. First, it is good for low light, it allows more light to come to the sensor, and also if you are shooting a video, the camera does not need to compensate slower aperture when you zoom in with slower shutter speed or changing ISO value. This lens also has a built-in optical stabilization, which works very effective. Also with the FZ300 in the box you get this lens hood, which is very useful when shooting outdoor in the sun, when the sun is in the frame or close to the edge of frames, because it can remove the flare. Build quality of this camera is on a very high level. All the outside materials are of very good quality, plastic is very nice, and the entire grip is completely covered with very soft and non-slippery rubber. Grip is also quite big for this type of camera and is excellently shaped, so it is very easy to hold this camera all day long without hand fatigue. FZ300 is full packed with various external controls. You have two ways of controlling the zoom. One switch is around the shutter button and second is on the lens. It is also a very nice feature. You can use it, any of them, for constant zoom, or it can zoom in steps when the lens will stop on popular focal lengths based on prime lenses in 35mm equivalent. Advanced users will like the fact this camera has 4 buttons which are completely custom assignable, and also twin dials, one below the thumb and second one here on the lens. A very important detail to consider about this camera is the fact that it has weather seals. It is, of course, it is not completely weather resistant, you can't go diving with it, but this camera has seals on all the buttons and controls, so it will be able to withstand the shooting in the rain or shooting in very dusty environments. This is something that no other ultra zoom camera on the market has. On the back you can see a 3-inch LCD screen with usual 900,000 dots. The screen is completely articulated, which is the better variation. Some cameras have only LCD screens that can be tilted up or down, but this option is better because you can rotate it up to the front and use it to see yourself if you are, for example, shooting YouTube videos or, of course, selfies. This screen also has touch capability and excellent viewing angles. Above the LCD screen you can see electronic viewfinder. It has 1.4 million dots and quite good image quality. There are electronic viewfinders with even higher dot count, but all of them are on cameras that cost twice as much as this one. So considered in the class in which this camera is, that are ultra zooms, this is the best electronic viewfinder to date. You can select manually if you want to use LCD screen or electronic viewfinder, or you can use the automatic switch system. It uses the sensor above the electronic viewfinder. As you can see, it responds quite good, maybe a little less than 1 second. The battery used in this camera is, as expected, a lithium unit. It has 1200 mAh and is strong enough for around 350 or 400 shots from a single charge, what is quite a good result. Also in the same compartment you can see memory card. FZ300 uses standard SD memory cards, with maximum being the 128 GB. So even if you record a lot of 4K videos, that should be enough for everyone. One detail that I didn't like and I have to mention is the fact that the tripod mount is very close to the battery compartment. So when the camera is on a tripod, you will be unable to exchange the battery or memory card without removing the tripod plate first. Besides the now usual Wi-Fi connectivity, this camera has several connectors. On the right side of the camera you can see 2.5mm input for a wired remote, micro HDMI output and a USB connector. USB connector sadly is not of the standard kind, you need a special Panasonic cable. You get one in the retail package with the camera, but if you lose it, you will probably have problems finding the spare one. Most shops do not have it. On the left side of the camera you can see 3.5mm input for external microphone. This is a very good thing because with external microphone you will always be able to get a higher quality sound than with the built-in. FZ300 has a small pop-up flash which is strong enough for typical family use. If that is not enough for you, FZ300 also has standard hot shoe mount for a stronger external flash unit. One detail I need to mention, which no other camera in this category has, is the ability to control other flashes wirelessly using the built-in flash. This is not something typical amateurs will use, but will be very interesting for professional users who might consider getting this camera for a second or even third camera. In case something happens with your main camera, somebody steals it, you drop it and break it, you will be able to use FZ300 as a replacement. Of course, FZ300 is not a professional camera, but with all these advanced functions it has, it is able to step in case of emergency. Sensor used in this camera is still very small, 6x4mm. This is exactly the same what other competitors have, but compared to, for example, DSLR or mirrorless camera, this is still quite small. The good thing about this sensor is that it has only 12 megapixels. For such small sensors, less megapixels is better because it will have less digital noise. You can see Panasonic tried very hard to get very high image quality from this camera. When you zoom into images, pretty much all the fine details are preserved. It is not the same level of details like on DSLRs, but it is close. When you use this camera at lower ISO values, for example up to 400, most images are completely free of noise. When you use this camera in lower light, in my opinion ISO 800 is something that can be used on a regular basis. If you need, you can go even higher, ISO 1600 or 3200, but in my opinion this is only for emergencies. The good thing about this camera for low light shooting that I already mentioned is the fact that it has a constant f2.8 aperture through entire zoom range. So in many occasions you will actually not need to raise ISO, but the lens will allow more light to come to the sensor. Video recording is a very strong selling point on FZ300. You can record in Full HD resolution at 24, 30 or even 60 frames per second. That is very good for recording fast moving objects because the videos will be more fluid. This camera can go even further. You can record in 4K resolution at 30 frames per second. Video quality is on extremely high level. Especially if you use 4K resolution, videos will have a lot of details and very realistic color reproduction. The thing I liked most about video on this camera is the fact it has all the manual controls. So you can manually select ISO, shutter, aperture, there is also focus peaking, zebra, it has input for external microphone, also manual focus can be adjusted. So if video recording is important to you, this is definitely the camera to consider. It is not only video enthusiasts that will benefit from 4K resolution. FZ300 has something that is called 4K photo mode. Basically this camera can record 4K video and then allows you to extract a single frame for the video and save it as a JPEG image. As you already know, 4K video has a resolution equivalent of 8 megapixels. So with FZ300 you are basically getting a camera that can shoot continuous at 30 frames per second. There is no other camera on the market that can do it. If you want to know more about 4K photo mode, I recommend taking a look at our special video which we made especially about 4K photo mode. Overall operation speed of FZ300 is on a very high level. The camera is very fast to turn on and off. All the menus and options turn up very fast on the LCD, and playback is extremely fast, as well as browsing through images, as is the case with zooming into recorded images. If you haven't realized up till now, I am very satisfied with FZ300. I reviewed pretty much all ultra zoom cameras on the market in the last 4 or 5 years, and although a lot of them were quite capable cameras, there was always something that was lacking on these cameras, so I couldn't fully recommend them. With FZ300 I finally think the perfect ultra zoom is on the market. This camera is perfect in pretty much every way, from video recording, 4K resolution, still image quality, various advanced functions, 25 to 600 mm lens with constant 2.8 aperture, everything that you want, it is built in this camera. If ultimate image quality is what you seek, FZ300 maybe is not for you. At this price point you still can buy entry-level DSLR or mirrorless cameras with larger sensors which will have higher image quality, but if you seek a single camera, one in all solution for pretty much all shooting scenarios, FZ300 is definitely the camera to recommend. That's pretty much all for this review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and please visit us at GdgtCompare.com where you can read a more detailed review of this camera. Thanks for watching.